I will sit there and I will be able to talk to Mr. Biya, and he will not be able to tell me to arrest me because I have people who have been elected. That's what he said. But these people had an imaginary mandate, and they misused that mandate, created a government which was not inclusive, and then they started behaving condescending not only to people like those of you who are the home front, but people like us who are sitting here in the diaspora. So, Mr. Leo, if you want to understand what is happening here, it is a business. Go and listen to what Field Marshal tells you about Ayeke. Go and look at the publications that I put about Chris Ano and their family treasurer, who is in one of the dungeons of Mr. Biya's government. Go and listen to what Eric Tato is saying about them, and go and listen to the leaks audio. So it has become a business. We know the truth, but we are hiding the truth from the common man. As somebody who is very concerned from the diaspora, let me learn, Mr. Leo, we have to empower you people who are the home front so that the truth shall set our people free and we will get something feasible. Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Okay, thank you, Paddy Asanga. But if some persons think that Ayuk Tabe was impeached, that is the Sako camp, Ayuk Tabe insists that he is the face of the revolution. Where is the legitimacy of all these leaders? Where do they get the legitimacy from?
If the revolution had a constitution already that gave Ayuk Tabe's position and his job description, his rights and privileges, then definitely they were supposed to have been dealing with him from that written constitution enacted before they kicked off. You don't just sit in your mind and give birth to a revolution. There is supposed to be three arms. There's an arm for diplomacy, there's an arm for judiciary, and there's also an arm for the military. These are three forces that collaborate together. This diplomatic executive arm is the one that gives command before judiciary goes to work. If I thought a constitution was put in place by them initially before they took off, they were supposed to have known the rights and privileges of the president when he's been impeached, so that by the time they're impeaching him, he knows he has violated the law. He doesn't believe he has violated any law because there was no law in place that guided and guarded him. So that's the reason when they say he's impeached, he's asking where did they draw such inspiration from to impeach him. Now, if Ayabacho and Akwanga believed in armed struggle and the other guy believes in diplomacy, those all revolutions work that way. They're individuals who are diplomatic. An arm is pursuing diplomacy, an arm executes the military. They were supposed to have formed it as a government and then work as a team. The divide was that their ideologies were different. Not different in the sense that this one did not want this one. Because Ayuk Tabe, I heard one of his interview in those days, he said, armed struggle is already on my table as another option, which means he was gearing towards that direction. The problem is who is going to be the head. What is killing them is greed, arrogance, pride, and a power-mongering mentality. That's what is killing them. Not that they differ in ideology, because they all accept each other's ideology, but who is supposed to stand as the head? Everyone wants to be a leader. That can never work anywhere on earth. I think people are already fighting for power that they have not even achieved. If they achieve this power, it's going to be worst. So there's no trace of humility, there's no trace of reconciliation, there's no trace of somebody accepting that this person is better off than me. And that is where the trouble is. If at all they had acknowledged this person hates the diplomacy, this person hates judiciary, this one hates the military arm, then you should have been able to understand that the diplomatic and executive arm is one that gives a go ahead. But you realize that Ayabacho, the kick of the armed struggle, when Siseko Ayuk was not even yet ready to give all the armed struggle, which means somebody is a head. That thing is like an octopus. It has several heads come from different angles. And the fact that they don't have a particular direction, a particular head, it will be difficult for them to achieve anything, because why? The force that we are supposed to have joined together to accomplish something substantial, it's being broken into little pieces that cannot accomplish anything. The strategy is poor.
Is this not bad for the population that is bearing the brunt? Where is the interest of the population in all of this, Andrin?
The population has no interest in all of this. I think that the population is a victim to this war, and like in the beginning, almost 90% of the population in that two regions that supported this revolution are regretting today that it never even happened. You see, and these are some of the things that I've been trying to let Cameroonians understand. You see, the fact that we are in different individual countries does not mean that if you keep repeating the same thing that has been done in this other country and then you think that you get a different result in your own country. If you take a look at Libya of Charles Taylor, you saw what happened there. You take a look at Libya, Liberia, Libya, where they complain about the system of democracy in Libya, where they said democracy was not being exercised in Libya, and people began calling Gaddafi a dictator. And today, when Gaddafi left Libya, we saw what happened today in Libya. A recent example will be Zimbabwe. Take a good look at Zimbabwe after Mugabe led, when he had fought for the sovereignty of that nation. It was a man who brought in the one man, one vote and chased out the British away from Zimbabwe and brought in democracy. But after a time, they called him a dictator, and at one period, the Zimbabweans were crying that Mugabe should leave power, and finally Mugabe has left. And now look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe now is a chaos. 90% of its population is unemployed, and there's heavy military repression in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, like this kind of thing where Kamto will come out in Cameroon and say he wants people to go out and do a nationwide protest, you don't dare that in Zimbabwe. The next day you disappear. So what I'm simply trying to say here is that this is a quest and a hunger that people really want change to take place in Cameroon. And I keep saying that they are not yet ready for the kind of change that will bring about a one fix in Cameroon, that Cameroonians will forget about this colonial rule system. The question here I want to ask Mr. Leo, that many Cameroonians have failed to understand that it was Commander Charles in those days when London has sent the map, when the Leagues of Nations asked the colonies to map out their colonies and strategize them, and when the map came from London, the soldiers who fought up to Moyoka, to Miselele, saw the map. The British soldiers told the London that they cannot give out this land where they lost their best soldiers, and this was the English-speaking side of the country, and sent back the map to London, and London now had to remap that area and said this area now is the English Cameroon. Had it not been for that English commander Charles, who was later on sanctioned, we will not be talking about the Anglophone Northwest and Southwest, because this was a fate decided by one individual who was ready to cause war between the ground troops of the French soldiers and the British soldiers that were on ground in Cameroon. So that was how the idea of the map that we today have of the English Cameroon. And so what am I simply trying to say, that in that beginning, that area of land was already sold to France by Britain, and this was done behind the backward. At the end of the day, Cameroonians cannot really understand, and that is why when they brought in Ayijo, because of how the French troops had, the English troops had resisted, that they cannot allow this area to be owned by the French Cameroon. And so that was how that division was made. But the agenda for France to still assimilate the English Cameroon back to the French Cameroon had not changed. Ayijo came in, he brought in the English border. After on, they brought in the incumbent president that we have today, who is totally was a francophone, to do what? To carry out that assimilation. So what I'm simply trying to say here is that when you are drowning, you will not be afraid to hold a tail of a snake to lead you to a shore. If you want to how would I put it, create your own nation, Mr. Leo, from a colony. You cannot create a nation from a colony that you know that you are living from frying pan to fire. We have not even yet had the independence of the Ambazonian, but we are seeing what the regime of the Ambazonians are already doing in that region, which is making life unbearable for all Anglophones that cannot live in those regions. And we cannot say that it is only the regime of the separatist fighter. We have also seen the regime of Mr. Biya. All of them are to be blamed. So what am I simply trying to say here, Mr. Leo? In this kind of situation where you understand that you are dealing with a colony and you cannot separate from a colony, the best thing you need to do is take the same example like what Rwanda is saying. Until we begin to learn to support these leaders, they may be bad, but they are not bad everywhere. If today Zimbabweans are now regretting that if they had known, they would have supported the concept of Robert Mugabe. If the Libyans, if they know, they would have supported the idea of Gaddafi. The same thing with Gbagbo. The same thing with Charles Taylor. Today, Africa is the same story. So by the time we are clearing that if the problem in Cameroon is Biya and not seeing that is a system, when this thing was happening, I told you, Mr. Leo, even on this platform, that I believe that the West, France, is behind this Northwest and Southwest issue. Trust me. And these separatist fighters are making money out of them because negotiations behind it are taking place. Why does the UN, can the UN not come in? The UN cannot come in because they know that France is sitting here. And France is controlling everything that is happening in Cameroon. Let Cameroonians not forget that when Ouattara was brought in 2010, 2011, in Ivory Coast to review the devaluation of the CFA, whereby the CFA was devalued and France was making $48 billion every month from that devaluation of the CFA.
Okay, Pastor Derek, seemingly something is not right somewhere from every indication that Ayabacho looks at things his way. I followed a response he gave to Deacon Taksang. I'm sure, I don't know whether it was today or yesterday. And when you listen to the reaction of Sako towards Ayabacho, towards Ayabacho and Ayuk Tabe, and the resilience of Ayuk Tabe to say I am, why can they not agree?
You know, Mr. Leo, this struggle is still looking for leaders.
Okay.
Now, when this thing started, I keep telling people that if you think this thing will last for 1 year, you are lying. If you think this thing will last for 3 years, you are still telling yourself a very big lie. This struggle is still looking for legitimate leaders. And very soon, they will come. You know, every revolution produces its leaders. Some people may start it, some people may carry it on, but along the line, the real leaders will come. If you look at even the history of the colonization, the real people who fought, at the end of the day, they were not even those who took over powers. What we need to do is that this Anglophone issue calls for a lot of prayers, Because if you look at what caused our people to leave Nigeria and join French Cameroon, is the fear of what the Igbos were doing to them. So they thought, those who built the future, you build it with strong determination. You decide to suffer today, and even for the next generation to enjoy. We need revolutionaries. What we see have now is some small boys. You see Eric Tato will be ranting. Leaders don't talk the way they talk. You see Tapan Ivo will be abusing this one will abusing that one, writing letter up and down. Those are boys that have just suddenly found themselves an opportunity to express themselves. As days goes by, Mr. Leo, believe me, you will see that the hand of God. One thing we have to know is that the hand of God is so strong on this Anglophone issue.
Yeah, but you have not explained, you have not answered my question. I'm saying, why can they not understand themselves? Is it the hand of God that is setting this confusion?
It's simple. They cannot understand themselves because they are not yet the real leaders.
Okay. Okay. You are raising the issue of legitimacy that I asked you.
Okay, let me ask something on that. Because if you follow carefully, this guy, they call him the chairman of the Restoration Council. He read some constitutional were designed by Sissoko himself, and he read some articles and seen that Sissoko violated this one, violated that one. For that means he is impeached. Okay, for Sissoko to prove that he's still in power, one thing is that Sissoko was deceived along the line by some people who may have told him that you still have command, you still have people behind you. Create another government, people will fall behind it. Mr. Leo, since he created the government, if Yerima comes on air, you look at the view, it's 2-3 people. If you look at even the actions and whatever is going on, you cannot hear Yerima anywhere. So what I will advise the Anglophone leaders is that humble yourself. Bible says if you humble yourself in due time, God will lift you up. Arrogant, pride, hunger for power. If care is not taken, some of them will more than the colonial master which are from Britain and France. If care is not taken, but God so being kind, our prayer can't go in vain. God knows how to remove wrong people and bring in right people. Mr. Leo.
Okay, good evening once again to all of you following the program. Many of you are writing already. Padi Asanga, definitely there should be a way to solve the issues, the squabbles amongst Anglophones from the southwest and northwest regions?
Yes, Mr. Leo, let me be honest to you people, and I'm going to say this one. At the background, there is something that they call the Ghana Peace, Pan-Africanist Peace and Security Initiative that has been scheduled for Ghana. The date has not been proclaimed, but we are talking about that, and we have endorsed that for one simple reason: to stop the bloodshed and recalibrate the way we are going to face the French Cameroon Jacobinist government that is composed of Anglophones and Francophones. Let me say this because Atanganji is a Jacobin. Jacobinism is an ideology, and that ideology is embedded in Mr. Atanganji Paul. So, just like Justice Aya Paul said with the AAC3, Dr. Munzo said with the Anglophone Dialogue Forum, Cardinal Tumi came up with the Anglophone General Conference. We think that there should be an intra-Anglophone dialogue in order to put in place a mechanism that would let our people express themselves, all shades of opinion, so that if somebody like Atanganji Paul comes on that platform, we should be able to ask him that question. Can you sit here and tell us today that there is no Anglophone problem when you went on air and said that there was no Anglophone problem because you wanted to be appointed Minister of Territorial Terror? That's what Mr. Atanganji Paul has been doing. I am saying,
Padi Asanga, can we be more civil in the way we talk, please?
Yes, Mr. Leo, I'm saying this. I'm responsible for what I'm saying. I am a political activist. I'm responsible for my own opinion, and we have given our heads. People want to kill us because we went to the national dialogue because we, from a political activism platform, we believe in talking to your opponent. We don't have enemies in politics, but we have opponents and we have adversary. And what I have said, it is my words, they are my words, and I'm saying that Mr. Atanganji is one of those persons, one of those Anglophones who cannot sit with us to talk. But there are also people who are victims of the Jacobinist system and the Ambazonian atrocities. So, Mr. Leo, please, you people, journalists, I don't know why you people keep trying to shut people like us down, but one thing is clear: Anglophones have to sit down, and we propose to them the Quebecan model of the special status. That is, Canada is a federation and Quebec has a special status. And you want to understand the mystery of Quebec is that the Francophone minority have the prime minister. So why don't we talk about an Anglophone president? Why did they amend the constitution to make Mr. Biya president? They can also amend it, not put people like Atanganji, but people who are victims, people who from the other side of the game, so that after 30 years, 40 years, we can sit down now.
Yeah, Paddy,
don't cut me, please. From the two political cultures, we can make an analysis and see where we are going. If all those two, the English culture has failed us, or the French culture has failed us, then we come out with a Cameroonian culture, because I have nothing culturally with Ayuk Seseko Tabe or with Sako as far as our African culture is concerned. I'm more close to Maurice Kamto, that I don't like, than Ayuk Tabe and the others. So please, let's be civil and let's be honest and tell people our history, because these people we have a war that is going on also in Mr. Biya's camp, where those who make these bad laws that were meant for you, Leo, that were meant for Pastor Ambe, that was meant for Ekoge, that was meant for all those panelists here, they want to inherit that law to perpetrate the same system and keep us in servitude under what they call France-Afrique. And those of us who are very, very active, those of us who do our research, will come here and tell our Anglophone population that we are not going to accept it. It is over. Thank you, my brother. You're welcome.
We once again are going to take a short break. When we come back, we discuss our last topic for tonight. You are watching Prime on My Media Prime. This time around, our last topic has to do with the situation of the workers of CDC. They have gone for 19 months without salary. They undertook a strike action last week in Tico, requesting that their salaries be paid. And meanwhile, CDC itself is helpless faced with this situation, owing to the ongoing socio-political crisis rocking the southwest and northwest regions. Quite difficult one there for the CDC. Apostle Ambe.
Yes, I still go back to discrimination as far as the state is concerned.
Okay.
Because the CDC is not the only organization or association that has been without work for a while. The teachers have been for approximately 3 years without going to school, and they've been paid salaries. Where did the money come from that was used to pay the teachers when they were not working? Is it because the teachers rose up and were the ones who constituted the initial strike that broke out the Anglophone crisis? Why would some level of preferability be given to some particular class of people in the country and others are neglected? It's true. We will say that CDC is a parastatal and the teachers are full government workers. But I think the government has a very good percentage as far as CDC is concerned. And much of the finances of the CDC is controlled by the government. And now the other government want to tell us that they have not kept any reserve to at least give even 2-3 months salary to these people to tell them that the situation on ground is not good. Receive this portion of the salary, because I don't think those people are asking for the 19-month salary. Probably they need basic allowances for their children to go back to school. The government would have at least called them and said, okay, the situation on ground right now, you can see for yourself, is not proper. We are giving you 4 months salary for you to take it and sustain your children to go back to school, while we will be pressing for to see how things take back. But we only see people have been appointed new director of PAMO, new director of CTC, and all these other appointed directors go and work where? Because they claim to have been saying that these institutions have closed down or they have shut down as a result of the Anglophone crisis. That's the reason why there's no money in circulation. If there's no money in circulation, does the state not have a reserve that could be used possibly? Secondly, these very CDC workers have been paying taxes in this country. Could their taxes not be used to sustain them for a while, as a back or insurance to sustain them for a while before life continues? How can they just abandon CDC like that? The teachers are not different from the CDC workers. All of them are Cameroonians, and they have basic needs. And the teachers were not teaching students. Schools were shut down by the separatists, and they were still paying teachers. Are they telling us some Cameroonians are more Cameroonians than others?
Okay. How do we understand this situation? Atemi Baku.
Mr. Liu, it's quite a sad one to see young men, young women, parents, and citizens of that CDC that have been for 18 months that have not received their salary. Even when the general manager came out and told the public that they have been paid for 3 months. Even in the going back to school, that they were even expecting to even get some money so that they can be able to send back their children to school. They didn't get anything. So this is really sad that we can, like I keep saying, that these are systems that we always deny its own people. And until Cameroonians understand that the only time Cameroon can be a place habitable for Cameroonians is only when Cameroon would have attained its sovereignty. As long as Cameroon is still a sovereignty and is still a colony under an imperialist, Cameroon will always have policies. Laws will only be there on paperwork, just on the mind of the people, but it will never be affected, implemented in such a way that people can say that truly Cameroon is a state of law. So, Mr. Leo, these are the kind of things that I keep saying as a Pan-Africanist, that let us look at very good examples in other countries. The most recent one I'll still use is Zimbabwe and Mali. Mali has lived for 25 years under a democratic system, and that has never worked for the Malians, and they have gotten tired with the electoral processes. We must be able to decolonize ourselves and understand that until we begin to encourage ourselves, we are not going anywhere, Mr. Liu, because right here we are stuck. The question here will come every time on this platform. We'll talk all about what is happening in Cameroon, but at the end of the day, what are the solutions that we can really offer to the viewers or the population of this country as to be what has to be done to make Cameroon become a place where we all can be proud to say we are Cameroonian. So if we don't look at the history very well, we'll not be able to know where we are going to, Mr. Leo. These kind of things will always happen. Why will it always happen? Because at the end of the day, like I still say, that the masses, all their work will always count for nothing because their government is always highly indebted. In 2017, when France took a shorty for Cameroon to take a loan at the level of the IMF of 400 billion to support and develop its private sector and to revive its economy, Cameroon government sent in some money to CDC, which that money was supposed to have been used to pay some of these workers, because the government has supported CDC in this is a crisis that it has gone through ever since we have been suffering from this issue of the Northwest and the Southwest. Now look at it again, Mr. Leo, that this crisis has been able to collapse this corporation, whereby the money that these people would have even been receiving, I used to keep saying that even if we keep using the feces to recycle them to make gas, to make a cooking gas, it will still be beneficiary to the people. If people in this country, even if the loans we took and the investment we do in Cameroon, we actually did them in a very sincere heart, it will even have developed the country to a place where people will not even cry. But people embezzle out of development. And at the end of the day, what they embezzle is not being invested in Cameroon to actually create employment and begin to quell down this kind of tension. Take a good look, Mr. Leo, at this road here in Douala. This was a road that was ceded to Satom, a French company, to fix this road. You go and see the halt and the traffic that it collapses the economy in every day. That happens there. The police people tend and begin to punish the road users for not respecting the way, but nobody tends to say, but we gave you this contract, you didn't do this work, because people have embezzled from that development. Yeah. So at the end of the day, Mr. Leo, we need to go back to the drawing board and understand that let us take the solution of Mali. We need to help this government. I said that federation will not work in Cameroon because Cameroon is a colony. Okay. Whether it is, allow me, Mr. Leo, somebody else will take my time. Just let me say something here. We are looking for solutions here, Mr. Leo. Yeah. Cameroonians need.
You are looking at the long term.
Yes.
The CDC workers have not sent their children to school.
Very well.
Are you saying that they should wait until your solution comes before?
That is not what I'm saying, Mr. Leo. I'm saying that Cameroonians should stand up for Cameroonians. So that Cameroonians' rights should be given. The aspect where we begin to sit and complain and begin to only blame the government, we need to take the responsibility and say this thing is not right, and if it's not right, somebody who is responsible needs to own up to his responsibility, otherwise he faces the consequence. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but for the case of the CDC is helpless. You know what the CDC is going through in the Southwest and Northwest region.
Yes.
How should the CDC help itself?
Mr. Leo, I have just told you that corporation has received some support from the government.
The corporation is expecting 49 billion to service its situation. What they have received so far is 1.3 billion
from the government.
Yes.
How much, Mr. Leo, we have seen? Let us not talk as if the government doesn't have money. This country, this administration has money. Cameroon, you know that it's not just few months ago that the GDP went down to 0.1%. It has climbed to 3.5% in the midst of this war. So I'm not saying that the country is poor. The country has money. This is just wickedness. This is just what I'm trying to tell you. This is wickedness. And these are the kind of things whereby Cameroonians should not just sit down because they are not the workers of CDC and fold their arms and think that it's just a group of people who are complaining. When something affects somebody, the rest of the other people are supposed to join him behind and make sure that he does well. That is the spirit of unity. And this is the kind of spirit that Cameroonians need to develop, like we are seeing in other developing African countries.
Let me just go through some the budget for 2020 envisage recourse to the state grants to the tune of 41 billion francs CFA, but it is said that we have the CDC has received the sum of 1.3 billion CFA. How do you sort this out?
Look at how much money is being spent in this war. For example, that is waste of resources. That is human resources. The families of those people that are demanding 18 months pay from CDC have children that are not going to school, and these are the children that we are expecting to become human resources in this our nation today. So what am I simply trying to say? That the country is misdirecting investments.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to say. I still come back again to the immediate thing that the government spent not less than 1 billion francs every day. So 48 billion to pay workers. That these workers will use that money that will still develop. Will still use the same money to develop their own community, pay fees.
It's not just to pay workers. That is money that is required to revamp the CDC and then pay the workers.
Mr. Leo, it is still almost one and the same thing. We have seen monies that individuals in the government have embezzled. One man have embezzled in this country. It's enough to pay all those workers. This is just wickedness. That's just my point.
Yeah. Why is the government finding it very difficult to come to the assistance of the CDC? Not even the CDC, its workers.
Mr. Leo, we should not just be generalizing things here that CDC workers. Have you ever heard the general manager complain? Have you ever heard the field managers complain? They are not owing them. They are receiving their salaries. My former office, every morning I pass through CDC office. The jeeps that were parked there when CDC was fine, they are still driving the same jeep, the same enjoyment, everything. The second, Mr. Leo, we should not, in everything that you see, always look at the historical factor. This same crime that CDC workers are crying today, marketing board workers cried some years back. The electric dam at Moyoka, the workers cried the same cry. It has been a systematic move to destroy everything that has to do with the Anglophones. When Adolf Warman came, the German businessman who started this CDC stuff, CDC was not only found in English Cameroon, CDC was also found in French Cameroon. But when the German left, what happened? The French Cameroonians sold all their own of the farm to the British people. So what is going on with CDC right now is something that only the poor ones and the common ones are suffering. Their managers are well catered for. They are still cleaning their compounds as it was before. So what I would advise these workers is that CDC has a lot of vast land. Plant your maize, plant your cassava, plant as many as you can plant, because as long as the Anglophone crisis continue, that even if they give that 40, how many billion they are asking for, who will go to the farm?
Yeah, but these people need to send their children to school.
That is why.
Are you saying that they should go to do subsistence farming
immediately? They should not wait.
Yeah.
They should go immediately, because Mr. Leo, you cannot depend on this system. Even the devil himself cannot depend on this system. CDC workers, plant your cassava, plant your corn, and wait a day the miracle will happen.
Yeah, but I'm sure they have been involved in this subsistence farming to add up to what they have been receiving from the company.
This is money they worked for.
Yeah,
it's no money they are asking. They have not worked. Pay them the 19 months and don't pay them again. Sack them. Pay them the one they have worked. They are not asking for money that they have not worked. This money you are owing them for labor they have invested. So pay them for what they are work. If you want to close CDC after paying, there's your personal cup of tea, but pay us what we have worked initially. Somebody can take that 19 man and go and start selling him in Kende. Somebody can start selling his palm kenne. It is his personal business. But at least give me what they are not striking for what they have not worked for. They are agitating for what they have worked for. Give us this 19-month salary. If CDC want to lock all his doors tomorrow and fit only manager is their personal cup of tea, pay us this 19 months salary. I may take it and go and start me another business.
Okay, Paddy Asanga, do you feel what the CDC workers are going through and the helplessness that the corporation finds itself today?
Mr. Leo, your panelists are very, very brilliant. And I keep saying this. Those are the leaders who are those are the people who should get the mandates from those of us sitting here in the diaspora. They have said it all. But Mr. Leo, you know, with my basket mouth, I always have something to say. The CDC workers are victims of the Jacobini system in Yaoundé and victims of the Ambazonians, who are another neo-Jacobins, because what all they do, they go and plead to the white boys. Oh, we will go and we want to sell you oil, we want to sell you CDC so that we will collaborate, and then we should be the people in charge. Listen, Mr. Leo, we are talking about children of CDC workers not going to school. Do you know what happened? Somebody asked that the students, the hands and limbs of CDC workers should be chopped off. Their children's fingers and limbs were chopped off because they were going to school. They aided the Mr. Biya's government to find an escapist road to say that we cannot pay you because you have not been working. And these people, if they are not alive, they would not work. That just goes to tell you that though some of us with basket mouths sitting here in the diaspora do things that we don't understand, and it only goes to favor the government. They have given an arena for Mr. Biya's government to take these people's salaries and pocket them and then tell you that, no, we cannot pay you because CDC has not been operating, you have not been to work, whereas these people have been fearing for their life. And when you people come and sit here and you call names of political scavengers, I want to say this. People who are human butchers. I don't want to use the words of the international community or Mr. Biya's government. You will understand where we come from. So our people are victims of this Jacobini system that we have been sold to by our Anglophone brothers and our Francophone brothers. So I understand them, and they should keep pushing. They should keep pushing. If the Cameroon government can buy armor cars, what should they do? They should give those people protection and pay them their salary, and they will continue to work because they have no other choice than to go and do what they know how to do best. And I want to congratulate you, Mr. Dio. That is my own plea on this platform, to tell you that you people are the voice of the people. You are the voice of the Anglophones, and Anglophones should patronize this platform and educate our people, let them know our rights. Those people have the right to be on the street, and they should not only be marching against the Jacobini system, but they should be also marching against those people who came and chopped up their fingers and limbs, ordered by basket mouths like myself sitting here in the diaspora, and then you see them eating crabs, taking pictures, snapping with their girlfriends, changing girlfriends like underwears. That is what our people are going through, and anytime, anywhere, and if you call me, I'll come here to tell you as it is. Thank you, Mr. Leo. I'm listening.
Okay. Should the CDC not be given priority in almost everything, given the very important position it holds in Cameroon's economy, and also knowing that it is a patrimony for this nation?
Mr. Leo, I told you the last time that CDC employs 22,000 plus workers with a running capital of 318 billion and some hundred of millions put together. That manpower and that budget alone influences this economy in different ways, whether we accept it or not. Secondly, Cameroon has a reputation of producing the world's best bananas, and it's CDC that is doing that job. An image about the nation is being sabotaged at the international level because a particular industry in the country is affected. Now, if 22,000 workers stop working and they come back home, let's calculate the economic, social, and political damages it will create. There will be high rate of unemployment, and many of them will fall into crimes. Crime rate will increase in the country. If you see somebody steal, not everyone was born a thief. Circumstances can press somebody to steal. Number two, CDC was not just a source of unemployment, it was a means of livelihood. People ate from the produce that came from CDC, ranging from bananas, going to palm oil and other things that they produce. It is but certain that the food we are going to have in this country will short, labor will go down, finances will go down, and it will expose a lot of people into crimes. Are we considering all these repercussions before allowing the CDC to dwindle every single day of our lives? Let's consider the top notch in the company are being catered for, but majority of the people are the common masses. Now, if 18,000 CDC workers don't go to school or don't have job, and their children are left back home, hunger strikes, job not there, school they are not going, even those children will become a nuisance to the society. If we calculate the repercussions at a very stretched position, we will understand that to curb a crisis is very essential, because why? It has many other things it produces. If at all the government considers that CDC was a breadwinner as far as this nation is concerned, then they were supposed to have done everything possible to sustain that corporation. CDC occupies a land of 42,000 hectares nationwide with different produce. Those produce are things that bring income to this country. And I can tell you that recently they were to transfer the CDC office to Yaoundé, is to tell you that the government is very conscious of what CDC produces. If at all these things are allowed to just fall and frustrate the lives of individuals, it means we are trying to cut the economy going, put it down. If Cameroon GDP in some months back was almost about 5 point something, and now it is at 0.1, and it has ranged to 3 point something, that means if CDC was in place, we're supposed to have been around 9, because CDC is a major workforce and a very strong financial booster as far as the economy is concerned. What are we going to talk or say as far as CDC is concerned? The repercussions of allowing the CDC to stay is going to be very, very bad. Now imagine most of those people who have children in CDC and they are unable to send their children to school. They may end up also finding themselves frustrated and they pick arms to enter the bush. It helps also to elongate and prolong the Anglophone crisis. You are indirectly recruiting soldiers for the Ambazonian crisis by not giving the CDC workers the opportunity and their dues. So when people get disgruntled, the next thing is that they begin to look for means to vent their anger. And any opportunity that comes from that platform, they will use it. Okay. There are many people who have been caught up in this crisis, not because they wanted to join, but because it was a means of venting their anger.
Okay, let me take some messages. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I appreciate your program. And the panelist, Samuel, is writing from Limbe. He says the clergy, Pastor Doe, is very misinformed about the CDC. Everybody is suffering in the CDC. There's no preference for whosoever working there. I appreciate the program so much. Thank you very much. This one says, once more, Mr. Liu, extend my regards to the panelists on board. I think it's time for the government to come in to pay these CDC workers, same as they keep paying the teachers in some parts of the English-speaking regions without them teaching since the beginning of the crisis. This one reads, thank you for your efforts. All the leaders have tried and the message has been sent home. but those who are abroad should fall behind those who are in jail. Support Tabe Ayuk, Mancho Pen, and the rest. Those who are in Europe are working their money out. This Peter writing from where we don't know. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thank you for the great work you are doing, opening the minds of the common man. Self-interest is what is slowing down development in this country, creating divisions in Anglophone problem where there is no public interest. Tears shall be every minute. Jonah is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Jonah. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Johnny from Bamenda. Please, Mr. Liu, stop. Okay. Some persons from coming to your program. Okay. Good evening. All, please, can the host not invite other activists like Sako, Chris, and Weyaba to share their own opinions? I say so because I have realized some activists appearing more than twice while many have not featured. Ngembe Hillary is writing from Ngembe Hillary is writing from Bamenda, from Yaoundé. Mr. Kum, good evening. The Kumbaman, my brother, is on the end of the truth as a point today. Ngwani Roland writing from Boya. Good evening to you. Okay. Good evening to you, manager. The guy in black is a castle builder in sky. He's just okay, a Pan-Africanist. Okay. Kanjo is writing from Boya. This one says some people are not clear. Sophie is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Liu. When I get speaks, I feel as weeping. Okay. Lizette is writing from Tico. This one says CDC should pick up arms. Their money will be paid. Okay. No, that's not what we want for our people. Now, Andre Atem Ebako, some persons are writing to find out why it is easier for the government to give money to a company like Cameco and very difficult to assist the CDC.
You see, Mr. Liu, the situation with the CDC workers is quite obviously that it's in such a way that it's difficult for probably the government to have really shown some greater concern to have paid those workers, because you remember that these people are not only victims of their salaries are not being paid, but they are also victims of that armed conflict down there, because a lot of them were being restricted for not going to work by the separatist fighters. So let us be very clear on that. So this is how they have become now victims of this crisis. You see, so the question that we have to keep asking ourselves is that in all indication it shows that we are not absolutely making any progress, because looking at the statistics of the 1.7 million people now who now reside in those two regions due to this conflict, and look at how many persons have died, the internally displaced persons, those that have fled out of the country. The question here I really want to ask is that, do we really feel that leaders will still come out of this thing, that this whole Anglophone crisis, that can really bring about a change? The answer here is no, Mr. Liu. I will say this to Cameroonians, that we are stuck with a system which from the beginning has denied its own people. We saw in 1958 the UPS stood and fought for the independence of Cameroon. That was not given.
UPC.
The UPC. We were being given an independence by France. And this is the democracy that I've been saying that has not worked, not even for the Western nation. So Cameroonians need to copy very good examples from its brother, from its native countries, the other neighboring countries, and copy those examples of what has happened in those countries. We must learn at one point to set aside our differences and understand that if we are fighting today and we are calling ourselves Black Legs, don't forget that we are fighting a system which is a colonial, it's a colony. and that colony is made up of black legs and white legs. So the only black legs have been dying, and we have not seen white legs being targeted. I've never heard of white leg. So what am I simply trying to say here is that let us all stop all of this, because at the end of the day, we cannot win when we all die. We cannot win when we are losing everything from every corner. We are losing economy, we are losing human resources, we are using development, we are losing so many, we are losing population, so many things we are losing. So Mr. Leo, this will be my solution to Cameroonians in this struggle.
No, CDC workers.
It's the same thing. When CDC cries, Cameroon cries, because those are head of families. Those are people that represent families. So we are crying. So what am I saying here is that we must set aside our differences, Mr. Leo, and start learning how to work together and build this country in the spirit that fits us, instead of us hanging and begin to create more divisions. That is my point, that unity will be our only key success for Cameroon to emerge. Out of unity, we are only sinking down, and at the end of the day, Mr. Leo, the government has money. This war can go on. In my analysis, I gave that this war minimum will take 10 years. 5 years for effective dialogue to take place, and another 10 years for the rebuilding of those two regions. So at the end of the day, the government can keep this war for the next 20 years. Who will lose? We will lose population, and at the end of the day, we will not have people in those two regions. So we must not persist. Another way to win a war is to retreat. Let us run and live to fight another day. We must not fight and all die.
This is a great this is great and courage to you guys, but you guys should actually talk about solutions, not pointing out the problem. We know the problem. Let's look at a very good solution. That is where we should end the program with. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and you panelists, for a job well done. Please understand that the government is carrying out projects to create something similar to the CDC. That's why they care less about the CDC. If anyone is still thinking of one Cameroon, let them forget. Akoja is writing from Menka. This one says, Mr. Liu, good evening. Please sing the CDC workers' plight like you did with the CDC land grabbing saga, and something will surely be done. Andre is writing from Tico. Andre, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks for such a program, but one thing I have to tell Cameroonians is that they are fighting a wrong fight. We should fight against our selfish attitude and change our own self before thinking about our country. Message to all the so-called leaders to wait till I come to bring total peace for Cameroon. Paul Biya is not the problem, but the greed of Cameroonians is the problem. You're writing from London. This one says, everyone in CDC is suffering, even top management. So they should not deceive persons. Stanley Mukete is writing from Limbe. Greetings to the studio over there. One of the work from the CDC, Tico, Mr. Fidelis. We have been working for 19 months without salary. Our children are not going to school, but his own children are going to school. Are still working. He says the general manager and some of us are still working. Our Xmas deposit and credit union money have not been paid. Hello, Mr. Liu and the panel. CDC workers are not even given the opportunities to farm crops like cassava, maize, and they are using the military to threaten the workers not to farm crops on the land after not being paid for almost 9 months. Some of them are being threatened to be dismissed. Jimmy is writing from Tombel. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the technical panelists. The management of CDC are just using this crisis to enrich themselves. Sakwe is writing from Tico. This one says, I always appreciate your programs. I'm a CDC worker. Not only the government is wicked, but some of our management too. Mbua is writing from Tico. Good evening to you, Mbua. Now, Mr. Liu, I totally agree with this struggle, with the fact that this struggle has become a business. Let's ask ourselves what the various leaders were doing before the crisis. From there, we will be able to know whether they are leaders or thieves. Mr. Liu, I just want to let you and your panelists know that SEC recently published 17,000 teachers with integration decision but don't have salaries. It's really a sad situation. Alan is writing from Bomenda. Now, the CDC workers are in a very tight corner. CDC itself is in a very difficult situation. What should be done to help the CDC and its workers?
To me, I was just going through the proposal of the Grand National Dialogue for the Special Status. I propose that CDC should be considered one of the subject on this Grand National Dialogue. CDC should be officially given to the Anglophones, making a public limited company where Anglophone can buy shares. Because if you look carefully, notice that there are many Anglophones who have big estate of hundreds of hectares. They are fully functioning and nobody has disturbed them. If you look at these guys attacking CDC, their main focus is attacking the government through the CDC.
Yeah, but
if this CDC is completely handed to Anglophone and this Cameroon Development Corporation is changed to West Cameroon Development Corporation, and it can be easier for us to convince the boys on ground that.
No, we are looking at the situation now. The workers, you are looking at long term. Something that may happen, which may never happen. But these workers need their salaries, and CDC needs to survive.
Okay, very simple, Mr. Leo. Looking at the general structure on ground now, Sonora had a similar problem, but the workers are being paid. Anything that has to do with Anglophones are always neglected in this country, and CDC is just one of the workers are one of the victims. Sonora workers are fully paid. The majority of the laborers in the field that are highly suffering, and some people can be making comment from far. We live in Limbe. I have more than 20 CDC workers in my church. From I interact with both of them. We can take those are really suffering. These common ones are really suffering. So the best thing we can tell the CDC workers first for now, look for different means. Let the young ones enter into bikes, and if you look carefully now, we should also encourage our brothers in the quarter who have garages, who have tailoring workshop. Let's see how we can give.
But those who are also targeting CDC workers, why don't you also call on them to spare CDC workers from this struggle? Like Paddy Asanga says, why do we think that they also have not gotten something to do with the fact that CDC is suffering?
If you do your research carefully, you will discover that this attack is attacking government through the CDC. If CDC is officially considered in this special status as being officially given to Anglophones, these attacks will drop for more than 80%. Most of the areas will begin to function. One of my pastors was kidnapped in Bamenda, and he told me that the guys, 7 of them were kidnapped, 5 were Francophone, 2 Anglophone. And the guy asked that if we came and met all of you were Anglophone, we are not taking you.
Are you saying that all of those who were killed in Boyo, in all these places is because they are Francophones? We've seen many deaths who are Anglophones.
No, they are killed because they are Anglophones, not because they are Francophones.
They are killed because they are Anglophones?
Yeah.
Okay, Paddy Asanga, we need to find a solution for the situation of the CDC. What should be done by government and the population?
Yes, Mr. Leo, thank you for that brilliant question. And Pastor just planted the decoration. And I'm very happy with what you people are doing on My Media Prime. You have brilliant young people who understand what our people are going through. You know, I'm not a Christian, but because I cannot live in a society where I would kill somebody because I don't agree with him, I will sit on your platform and talk to Apostle Ambe, I will talk to Pastor, and I will talk to your other panelists. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Part of why the Ambazonians and why we have separatist fighters in Cameroon is because there is a massive unemployment. And you want to understand that, Leo, you and myself went to school when they were telling us about Menchum Menchum hydroelectricity project that could illuminate or that could provide electricity for the whole West Africa. That is a structural development project that will employ at least 10,000 young men and women from the Northwest and Southwest region, and will create startups. Mr. Leo, the Limbe Deep Sea Port is also a structural development project that will take people out of employment and give them a means to survive, not giving them fish, not giving them sardine, but telling them how to produce, making them able to produce sardine. Mr. Leo, I am an Abakwa boy, and I will say it as it is. PWD Bamenda, Public Works Department, Social Football Club, is the champion of Cameroon today. But you want to understand that we don't have an international football stadium that represents that football club. Whereas we have been in 1989, we were playing against Dynamo Douala, and all those stadiums that were fabricated and imposed in Yaoundé and Douala could have also been created in Bamenda. So this is what we are saying. These are projects that should, as a mid-time and feasible solution, be ignited in the Northwest and Southwest region.
Yeah, we are talking about the CDC. We are going to do a special program for that. I'm talking about the CDC. The workers need to survive. The company itself needs to survive.
Yes. I want to tell you that, Mr. Leo, the government has people who have embezzled money in the levels of billions who are hiding in Konengi. We also heard that some ministers are working free who took 14 billions. That money should be collected and CDC workers should be immediately paid, and then let them go back and keep fending for their daily bread. Cameroon government, as most of your panelists have just said, they don't lack money to pay our brothers and sisters who have been working, but they are using these monies to maybe embezzle them and prepare for the succession of Mr. Biya. So, Mr. Leo, I don't have much to say about that. We also know that that country is rich. It is the beacon of the Gulf of Guinea, and that's why all the international powers are very, very interested, and they keep pumping money for COVID-19, for whatsoever, but those monies are embezzled by people who are sitting in Yaoundé. So, Cameroon government should pay that money, and then we should also tell our separatist brothers to stop attacking those people, because without CDC, we'll have people on the street who will not only attack the government, but they'll come and kidnap you, they'll kidnap Apostle Ambe, they'll kidnap everybody who doesn't believe in their ideology because Ayabacho has said so, because somebody like myself is sitting in the diaspora and has said so. So I am very, very pleased with you, and every Anglophone elite who thinks good and who wants peace and progress of Cameroon should be patronizing this My Media Prime, because this is the voice of Anglophones. You know what I'm talking about. Other people have created media platforms where they come and venerize and sell their agenda, and information is power, and information is the key to what we want for our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paddy Asanga. We have to unfortunately end here, but seemingly Apostle Ambe had a way forward for the situation at the CDC.
Yes, Mr. Leo, the CDC brouhaha came as a shock equally to the government, and we don't expect the government to just create something immediately to solve the problem all.
It's been dragging for years now.
Just I'm telling you that the challenge that came upon the CDC workers is because of the Anglophone crisis. That suddenly from nowhere everything halted. The government would not expect them to pay them all the 19 months. At least they could decide to pay 5 months from now, to give the workers at least something to lean on, communicating. something that things are going to get better, because there is a way that words can even pay you more than money. If the government is loyal and humble enough to call the attention of CDC workers, we are going to give you guys 4 months salary for now. Look at the situation on ground, because as a CEO of a company, when things don't go well, I can call my workers and tell them that, as you can see for now, things are not moving very well. Have this as a month's salary while we are waiting for things to get better. One, that's the first thing. Number two, we'll talk about CDC brass to understand that depending on salary is a crime. Even God, who created the world in the Garden of Eden, he had to put 4 rivers to water the Garden of Eden. Every individual must have multiple streams of income. Never rely on salary. I'm sure every CDC worker by now was supposed to have had a little business attached to your work, that in case the crisis came, you were supposed to have something to lean on. The idea of totally depending on salary is a very dangerous thing. We will have to educate people in every area of life. Whether you are a government, civil servant, you are a parastatal, or whatever you are doing in life that is earning a salary, we advise you to always create a reserve or something like a leaning factor, another business that can sustain you in times of challenges. Depending on CDC and depending on salary alone is very, very wrong. We are giving this council a bit late, but it's they used to say that prevention is better than cure. So it's better sometimes we give you the counsel you can able to present next time. Once bitten, twice shy.
Okay.
Get this knowledge and know that you cannot lean on particular source of income and survive.
Okay, Pastor, please, you do not have, don't say what you don't know. If CDC managers do not complain, it's not because they are not feeling the pinch. You don't misinform the public. Okay, Michael is writing from Tico. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Can you work without salary? The problem in Cameroon is scarce by things like that. To me, it's just that our leaders are not nice. Fellow panelists and listeners, one of the solutions I have for the CDC saga is that government should even come in to give CDC subventions